Hello and good night. Welcome to another bedtime story. This story is meant to help you sleep or to relax your mind. Try and find a comfortable place, such as your bed or a soft chair. If you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes now. Try and let go of the day as we begin our tale. Tonight's story is Frau Holle. Once upon a time, in a quaint little village, there lived a widow with 2 daughters. One was her own, a lazy and ill-tempered girl who had been spoiled since birth. The other was her stepdaughter, a kind-hearted and diligent girl who was treated cruelly by her stepmother and stepsister. The stepdaughter, whom we shall call Margaret, was forced to do all the housework, from sweeping the floors to spinning yarn, while the stepmother and her daughter idled away their days. One fateful morning, as Margaret sat spinning beside the well in the courtyard, her fingers grew weary and a drop of blood fell on the spindle. In her effort to clean it, she leaned too far over the well and lost her grip on the spindle. It tumbled into the deep waters below. Terrified of her stepmother's wrath, Margaret hesitated, but then resolved to retrieve it. She took a deep breath and leaped into the well. Instead of drowning, she found herself in a strange and beautiful land filled with bright fields, singing birds, and the scent of wildflowers. As she wandered in amazement, she came across an oven filled with loaves of bread, calling out, take us out! We are baked and ready!" Moved by kindness, she picked up a wooden paddle and carefully removed the loaves, placing them on the ground to cool. Further along, she encountered an apple tree heavy with fruit, its branches nearly breaking under the weight. Shake me, my apples are ripe," the tree pleaded. Margaret smiled and gladly shook the branches, allowing the ripe apples to tumble down. She gathered them into neat piles before continuing her journey. Eventually, she arrived at a charming cottage where an old woman with kind but peculiar-looking features awaited her. The woman had large teeth, but her eyes gleamed with warmth. "I am Frau Holle," she said. "If you will stay with me and help keep my house in order, I will reward you well. All I ask is that you fluff my feather bed each morning until the feathers fly, for when they do, it snows in the world above." Margaret agreed and quickly settled into her new home. She worked diligently, always ensuring that the house was clean and the feather bed was well fluffed. The days passed pleasantly, and Frau Holle treated her with kindness, providing warm meals and gentle words. After some time, however, Margaret began to long for home, despite the hardships she had left behind. She humbly approached Frau Holle and asked if she could return. Frau Holle smiled at her with understanding. "Since you have served me faithfully, I will send you back in a way that befits your kindness." She led Margaret to a grand gate, which opened to a shower of gold coins that rained down upon her. "This is your reward," Frau Holle declared. "From now on, your goodness and hard work will always be recognized." When Margaret stepped through the gate, she found herself back in her own world. her apron and hair glistening with gold. Even the spindle she had lost lay beside her. When she returned home, her stepmother and stepsister were astonished by her newfound wealth. As soon as her stepmother learned of Margaret's adventure, she grew envious and sought the same fortune for her own daughter. However, Margaret's stepsister was lazy and selfish. Begrudgingly, and rather than doing any spinning, the stepsister threw herself into the well, expecting riches to await her. Like Margaret, she arrived in the strange land and soon came upon the oven full of bread. When the loaves called out to be taken out, she sneered and walked past them. "I do not wish to dirty my hands with soot," she muttered. When she reached the apple tree and heard its pleas, she waved it away. "I shall not waste my time gathering apples. What if one falls on my head?" Finally, she arrived at Frau Holle's cottage and was offered the same opportunity to stay and work. The stepsister accepted the job, thinking of all the riches she was going to get, and on the first day she was perfectly behaved and did everything Frau Holle asked. However, on the second day she already started to reveal her slothful nature, and on the third day she barely even lifted a finger, never tended to the house properly, and neglected to fluff the feather bed as requested. Frau Holle observed all this but said nothing. After some time, the stepsister grew restless and demanded to return home, certain that a golden reward awaited her. Frau Holle led her to the gate, but instead of gold, a great cauldron of pitch poured over her. "This is your reward," Frau Holle said sternly. "You have received what you earned." Covered in sticky black tar, the stepsister shrieked in horror as she stumbled home. No matter how hard she tried, the pitch would not wash away, and she was marked forever by her own laziness and greed. Her mother was beside herself with anger and treated her very badly. Margaret, however, soon got married to the kind and hard-working baker's son, of whom she had had a crush on ever since they were kids. Thus, the kind Margaret lived happily, her gold bringing prosperity to her household, while the stepsister remained stained with pitch as a lesson of the value of diligence and kindness. And so, the tale of Frau Holle teaches that hard work and a good heart shall always be rewarded, while selfishness leads only to sorrow. And Margaret and the baker's son lived happily ever after. The end. Thank you for listening to this bedtime story. I hope you enjoyed the tale tonight. If you did, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more audiobooks and tales to come. Until next time.